It's a spring morning, and here we are at Katchkie Farm. This is our crabapple tree, and it looks like it might be a good year. Come on in, and we'll see what this spring day has in store for us. This is our barn. It is flanked by our 3 greenhouses. I really didn't know anything about farming when we started, other than the result of everybody else's hard work. Something in me really spoke to the need to connect to the earth and know where our food comes from. And I never really anticipated what this process would look like, but I know now. It's painstaking work, all this seeding. It's just amazing to think how it just happens. It's really the most amazing moment in the farm when the nursery is filled with little babies and the promise of the new season is underway. It's never ceased to amaze me that a little seed results in this magnificent bounty. It's nothing short of a miracle that just never gets boring. Katchkie Farm is organic, and we wanted that to be the case since the very beginning. Stewardship of the land and our obligation to be very mindful of all inputs, cover crops, chemicals, which we do not use, and the relationship between us and the land. One of the things that we've done over the years is plant gorgeous rows of sunflower seeds, and there's a cover crop that has sunflower seeds mixed into it. It is a showstopper. People just love to be photographing them and taking their selfies in front of the sunflowers, myself included. But when they're done, they all get plowed in, bringing wonderful nitrogen and nutrients back to the soil. And surprise visitors, Farmer John and Farmer Charlie. Good morning. John Ronsani, native Hudson guy, is our farm manager for the last 2 years. How's it going?
It's great. We have an early spring.
You are local. You're from the area here.
Mm-hmm. Just a few miles down that way.
Is that unusual? Are the farmers here for the most part?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think the larger farms like dairy farmers and hay and corn and beans, they're pretty established families here. I think the newer generation of the kind of small scale vegetable farmers, I don't think there's too many local folks.
What is the big difference between your generation and the previous one in terms of the veggie farmers, dirt farmers? Technology for sure. You guys aren't afraid of technology. I mean, I see that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a different different approach to farming. Like smaller works for us, on what we grow and our scale. I think the direct marketing as well, just selling directly to people, as opposed to larger outlets.
And in terms of farming techniques, do you see a change from generation to generation in terms of environmental impacts or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I can, speak for my generation that I think we're more, very conscious of what we're doing, how it affects things down the line. So, how we're stewarding the watershed, the, carbon emissions, trying to keep carbon in the soil, trying to make sure fertility stays on the farm and doesn't go somewhere else. This is the view that really sealed the deal. Seeing these fields with the Catskill Mountains hovering in the background was just amazing. We plant in the greenhouses during the winter, and it's rotated. So now there's some little lettuces, the end of the chard, and the end of the kale, which, look at that. Don't you want to just saute it with a little garlic and some salt and eat it for breakfast? This is the most delicious snack in the entire world. This is the other part of Katchkie that just sealed the deal. You saw the land, this magnificent lineup of pine trees just framing the border of the property. And every season they look so different. It's a little early this year, but
It's been an early spring for the first time in years. So Farmer John has planted kale, some lettuce, spinach, beets, carrots, and we'll see how it goes. Another sure sign of spring is rhubarb. I planted this rhubarb patch years ago because I am a rhubarb girl. Being in the food business gives us a very special relationship to food. And I always thought it was really important that we know where our food comes from. As we got bigger, we didn't want food to be a commodity. We wanted to feel that connection to nature and the source of our ingredients. In '06, we bought 60 acres to start a farm to connect us to food, to agriculture, to local flavors, seasonality, but also to become a home to the Sylvia Center. Sylvia Center is named in memory of my daughter, Sylvia, who died in 2004, just shy of her 7th birthday. Sylvia wanted to be a helpful human, and creating the Sylvia Center really gave us the opportunity to create a legacy for her and to connect it to something that she loved, which was vegetables, going to farms, and being part of nature. So it's really a beautiful way to honor her memory. My journey with Katchkie Farm and of course the Sylvia Center and all the conversations we've had over the years with friends, visitors, guests, clients, kids, their families, around food, where food comes from, and the connection between eating well and feeling well led me to author a cookbook called Sylvia's Table, and it was published in 2013. In the book, there are so many recipes that I encourage families to cook together. They're simple, they're basic, no absurd ingredients to run around and collect, and it really reflects my love of seasonal food. And it's not only that I love eating in season for farming reasons, I love it because food in season is what really tastes best. The book has many of my culinary friends who have contributed recipes to it, so it's voices from a wonderful collection of the culinary chef and agricultural community. And it was at the very beginning of the predominance of farm-to-table cooking. So I did not know how much was in the pipeline when we started working on this book, but it is very special to me. It also highlights the work of the Sylvia Center, and it's so many teaching moments that happen around food. So I like to highlight that in every chapter and go deep on some of the ingredients we use. I talk about all the different kinds of apples there are, the different kinds of peppers, the different kinds of pastas. The kitchen is one of the most fertile learning environments that I know. And any discussion that I have around the book and the recipes always comes with the expression I borrow from Miss Frizzle, which is, get messy and make mistakes. That is the best way to learn, have fun, and enjoy being in the kitchen with yourself or your kids or your family.
Today we processed some tomatoes. I think we started out with 300 pounds and we ended up with, I want to say, 9.5 gallons worth of tomato puree. And I think the total compost it had no more than, I want to say, 25 pounds. So I think it was a good day's work. And now we're out here on the field and I picked some zucchini, some squash, some scallions, some chard, and some kale that I'll take home.
And do you see anything in particular challenging this year in 2021?
2021, it's always so different. I mean, one week it could be one thing, the next week it could be another thing. But yeah, I think just as people kind of get out more, hopefully, I think the climate for selling things will be a little bit different than what it was last year, and different opportunities will show up.
What are in the vegetable plans for 2021?
Still the staples: carrots, tomatoes, peppers, squash, cucumbers. Just try to grow really, really tasty food that people enjoy. And then it's going to show up in the GP kitchen.
What is your favorite vegetable to grow and to eat?
Favorite one is carrots to grow, just because it's a really tricky crop. If you haven't done a good job of keeping things in order beforehand, just kind of chaos breaks loose when you go to grow carrots. And to eat, I love tomatoes. I'm partial to tomato sauce. So I think any good plum tomato that'll cook down and make a nice thick sauce is a favorite.
Katchkie has been a wonderful source of inspiration for products we've made over the years. It started the first year with a bumper crop of cucumbers, and it was summertime. We were swimming in cucumbers, which are really not in high demand in our catering business. And that's when the idea hit. It was actually during a thunderstorm when I remembered a farmer from my youth who told me that thunder makes the cucumbers grow. And in that moment, Thunder Pickles was born. All these years later, we still make batches of Thunder Pickles, and they're really a signature item. The other crop, we made the most amazing beet chips. And I think some of our customers called them crack chips because once you started eating them, you just became an addict. And of course, the beet burger. And in our restaurant downtown at the May Cafe, the beet burger was the featured vegetarian burger. And we've taken the beet burger out to parties. There's mini beet burgers as an hors d'oeuvre, and it is one of the most beloved veggie burgers we've ever sold. The other crop that was in huge abundance, way beyond our ability to serve it and eat it, even if we gorged ourselves all day, of course, were August tomatoes. So a couple things happened. We created Katchkie ketchup, and we did that also in our first or second year. Katchkie ketchup was the first artisanal, organic New York State ketchup, and I think inspired so many others after us to do a real ketchup from tomatoes without high fructose corn syrup and additives and coloring. And what kind of varieties of tomatoes are we going to grow this year?
We're going to grow some heirloom, a good variety, just a standard Brandywine, green zebra. We're doing one Orange King, kind of like a big meaty orange tomato heirloom. We're doing these Napoli Roma tomatoes for paste tomatoes, and there's probably about 10 others that I can't think of right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As the weekend comes to an end, I'm ready to sort of pack it in and say, I want to stay here. But the city calls me, and my life there calls me, and the work I do in the city is important. So I always say, next time I'll spend more time here, next summer, next season. And hopefully this will be the season I get to spend more time here, because it's just remarkable. It really does fill my soul in ways that I think many of you understand. So it's great to share this experience. Thanks for listening.